So guys, the EuroLeague team budgets for the 2024-25 season are out. And to be honest, they've been out for a while now, about a month, and I just haven't covered it in a video format. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do in this video. First of all, big props to my colleague Donatas Urbanas, who once again is the only guy who cares about these things and done it again for the first time since 2021-22 season. As you can imagine, in a league, or we could say even in a continent where the numbers are not transparent, nothing's public, it's really nice to see not just how much are players getting in terms of their salaries, but also how much are the teams spending. This will allow us to look at the top teams, the bottom teams, what's the gap in between. Also, I guess it would be interesting to see the standings and see who's using their money best. And for me, the most interesting part is how does it all compare to the NBA? So my intro is done, let's get right into it. So here's the actual article. As you can see, the budget research was done before the final deadline of the signings, and since then there have been two moves. One of them being Saben Lee going to Olympiacos, and the other one, Tibor Pleiss, going to Panathinaikos. So what it does, it changes the table a little bit, because now Panathinaikos actually adds about 500,000 to 700,000. It's not really clear the exact number. So they would go above Real Madrid, but guess what? Saben Lee signing adds $1 million on top of Olympiacos' budget in net salaries, which means they are the top spender of the league. And as you can tell, there are two columns here. There's total budget in gross, and also players and coaches' salaries in net, which means after taxes. So for the most part, the total team budgets follow the same trend as the net salaries. Real is first with 45 million, then you got Panathinaikos with 37, Olympiacos with 37, but again, don't forget those two signings. But there's another interesting thing. If you look at Panathinaikos, there's actually a parenthesis and it says 50 million. The reason for that is that Panathinaikos is allocating about 13 to 15 million to Oaxaca's renovation, and that's why the numbers are different. Okay, and then we got Anadolu Efes, Fenerbahce, the two Turkish clubs, Barcelona, who have fell down comparing to historical data. Then, of course, Milano, who have always been spending a lot. Crvena Zvezda in the top 10. AS Monaco, Partizan, Virtus, Bayern, Baskonia, Žalgiris, Maccabi, Asvel, Paris, and Alba being completely dead last. Okay, guys, actually I have an idea. Let's take a look at budget and also standings, give it to ChatGPT, and see who is actually doing bad and who's doing good. So I got a prompt ready here. I'll give it a little screenshot of the actual standings. I gave it all the budget, and let's see. Of course, I'm not gonna do the whole calculation thing myself. We got technology these days.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, and we got the answer. Overperforming. Low salaries, high standings. Paris, of course, +7 if you look at where they are in terms of their net salaries and where they are in terms of standings. They have the third lowest salary, as ChatGPT has already told us. Then, of course, Bayern, Monaco, Fenerbahce, and Žalgiris. Žalgiris could have been way higher, but of course, they effed up their own season. And then we got the underperforming ones with high salaries, low standings. So we got Virtus, Milano, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and interestingly, Panathinaikos is mentioned here, but I think it shouldn't be. And just think about if Real Madrid didn't have this crazy run at the end of the season to go up in the standings and actually make the playoffs, then they would have been way higher in the underperforming list. So yeah, those are some interesting facts. Also the fact that, let's say, Alba is spending 5 times as little as PAO, Olympiacos, or Real Madrid. Same with Paris, to be honest. Paris is spending 4 times less, and they're in the top 10 of the standings right now. So how does it all compare to the NBA? I think you know the answer already. Okay, so I said Olympiacos is 21.5 million euros net, right? Thing is, NBA numbers are reported in gross numbers, so all the taxes are included, and we cannot actually compare one to the other. So what I'll have to do is assume that the tax rate, let's say, is 45% for NBA teams, and then I'll make the NBA numbers into net and then compare it to the EuroLeague ones. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's actually start with the bottom of the EuroLeague. Let's say Alba, the whole club, the whole budget for every single player on that team and the coach is 4.1 million euros, which would be $4.4 million, let's say. So this is ESPN's reported player salaries, and if we go down to probably page 7, I'll have to actually go quite a few pages down to find anything close to what we're looking for. Okay, so if I said $4.4 million net, the equivalent would be about $8 million gross. We're talking about players like Jock Landale, Jeff Green, Kevon Looney, Trey Lyles. These players are earning the exact same amount of money as the whole Alba Berlin squad. Okay, so that's insane. And I meant all those players individually are earning that. So that's insane. Let's look at the top of the teams. Okay, so let's say Olympiacos with their 21.5 million. How do they compare to NBA players? So that would be about $45 million gross. So let's look at players who have similar salaries. Okay, so at least we got to the first page. We got Zach LaVine, Rudy Gobert, AD, Luka Doncic, Trae Young. These are the sort of players that are earning individually as much money as the top clubs in the EuroLeague. It's just crazy what the difference is financially between these two leagues. Like, you think about it, Real Madrid used to be a team where Luka Doncic actually started, and now he's earning more than the whole squad. But that was me actually comparing EuroLeague teams to just NBA players. Now let's compare EuroLeague teams to NBA teams. Okay, so the minimum is Alba with that 4.4 million. The maximum is 21.5 million euros, which would be about $23 million from Olympiacos. Let's find the top and the bottom teams and just compare. Phoenix Suns is spending 220 million this year gross. Even if you divide it by half with all the taxes, income taxes, federal taxes, that's what, 100 million at least? And it's probably even more than that. So okay, 100 million or 120 million from Phoenix, and then you got Olympiacos with 20. That's 5 or 6 times the difference. And also, this is just the salaries, by the way. It's not the whole gross budget of the whole team. It's just for salaries and coaches. Let's see the bottom team. Detroit has $140 million budget. So if you look percentage wise, it's $80 million difference between Detroit Pistons and the Phoenix Suns. $140 million, that would be about what, 65 to 70 million, maybe 75 million net. That is still about 3.5 times more than any EuroLeague team. Now I gotta do some calculation. So get this, Phoenix is 1.5 times the budget of Detroit Pistons. Olympiacos is 5 times the budget of Alba Berlin. Maybe that's the reason we're looking ahead to a luxury tax, because when you compare it to the NBA, the difference is so crazy. Of course, we can also look at the averages. So EuroLeague's average is 12.5 million euros, and the NBA's average is $166 million gross, which would be around 80 to 90 million euros. So on average, it's about an 8-time difference. Again, since I said we had numbers in 2021-22 season, and now we have the numbers in 24-25 season, let's compare who has grown and who has fallen. ChatGPT comes to help again, and we got Panathinaikos with the biggest increase of 15 million euros from 5.5 to 20.5 million. Olympiacos added 12 million, Zvezda added 9.2, AS Monaco 7.7, and Gytis has been steadily growing and added 3.2. And the only teams that have fallen in these past few years is Barcelona, minus 3.3 million, understandable, and Maccabi, of course, understandable, with a 0.5 million minus. There's a bit more to taxes, and I think they play a huge part in this whole equation, all of these budgets. So I'll give you a short example. If you're paying 1 million euros net for the salary in Barcelona, for example, you're gonna pay 1,870,000. If you do that in Madrid, then it's 1.75 million gross, which is a bit less than in Barcelona in terms of taxes. But then if you go to Vitoria, where we have Baskonia team, then they're paying only 1.33 million for the same 1 million net salary. And actually, Serbia is the ultimate cheat code when it comes to these taxes, let's say, because in Serbia, if you want to sign a player for $1 million net or euros net, you're paying only 1,120,000. The difference is minuscule because there's only a 12% income tax. And then we can go to the opposite direction. Germany, for example, 2.2 million to pay that 1 million net salary. And that reflects when you look at the table again, because look, Bayern is spending 33 million euros, but then they allocating only 8 million net for the salaries. this. Now, I won't expand on the luxury tax thing. This is the topic that I already covered, and you can check out the video. I'll leave the link in the description, also on the end screen. But I just wanted to say that it definitely needs to come in because the discrepancy between the top teams and the bottom teams is crazy compared to the NBA or just in general when you think about it. And also what I'm taking away from this is that some teams are just using their money much wiser than the others. Some teams are actually paying a lot for their players and the results are not there, while others like Paris and Bayern they're actually getting into the playoffs with one of the lowest budgets in the EuroLeague. Right, so this was a bit of a different video, a bit more improvisational, a bit more reaction style, flowing, whatever. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my home setup. Also make sure to like this video, subscribe for more videos on EuroLeague, European NBA topics. But if you want to see exactly just the NBA topics, make sure to check out our second channel called Outside the NBA. Thank you for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next one.